Eric Holder, the guy that killed Nipsey Hussle, was finally sentenced, and the chapter on this case is finally closed, notwithstanding any future appeals, which I believe will all be unsuccessful when they are filed. So it's kind of like an unofficial last chapter of the Nipsey Hussle case. Eric Holder was sentenced to exactly 60 years to life. Which pretty much means that unless this guy can live to be about 90 years old, he's probably never going to see the light of day.
Yeah.
What's your whole reaction to that, man?
For one, I have a question whether that's irony or design that it landed on number 60. Of course, it's ironic, just in nature, but we have our thoughts on that. I wouldn't mind discussing that with you a little more, but
for sure,
I think for the nature of what we all saw happen on the video and the way things go, I couldn't imagine him getting much less. I remember first hearing the report that he got 25 to life, and I was saying like, damn, as far as the courts, the way shit go, that don't seem like it was right. And then there was a correction that it was actually 60 to life. And I just believe for, the way that shit played out on camera, I couldn't imagine him getting any less than that. That sounds about what I would expect it.
Yeah, so here in the state of California, for all our international listeners and our listeners from out of California, you have to do at least 85% of your time here in California before you either get released or is eligible for parole. So that means after about 51 years, Eric Holder will be eligible for parole 51 years from the time he was arrested. So let's just say he's got 4 years credit because he got arrested in 2019. We're in 2023. So that means he's got 47 years to do. And that means that his first board date will be in 2070, man. If I did the math right on that, 2070. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
We're in 2023.
He gonna either go straight med head out and zone out, or he gonna find some type of religion. Either or.
Yeah, I was a little surprised he got to 60, but I guess most people aren't, because 60-year sentence doesn't really make sense because it's the CDCR. You're supposed to go in there, learn what you did was wrong, reevaluate what you did, take some programs, get right, and come back to society as a better person. When you get these sentences, basically they're saying, no, we don't care about rehabilitation. We don't care about helping you become better. We don't care about putting you back out there when you're older, but enough time so that you can be a lesson to people. They just pretty much lock them up.
So how official is that R? Because it's not constantly or always implemented when you see CDC. I more commonly just see CDC.
No, it's the CDCR. I always say just CDC, but it is officially, because they added the R, I don't know, 15 years ago. When you was in there back in the 90s, it was the CDC.
Oh, that's why, okay.
Yeah, it was the CDC. And then I think at some point, because of criticism, because of advocacy, because of, the prison state is being judged now, they decided, what, we're the biggest state, one of the biggest states in the country. Let's do something different.
It's ironic you say that, because the reason why I was thinking that 25 years was not quite meeting. It sounds like a little bit of time because, my name is Spider. My name is Baby Spider. It's a little spider that is from the dynasty that I'm Spider. And he been doing time since the 90s. And his crime is very similar to Eric Holder's crime. And he got action that coming home. So when he went to jail in 91, and right now, in current time, when he and I speak, it's a reality that he got action that coming home, free the homie Lil Spider. And when I heard Eric Holder only got 25 years, I was like, damn, he got action, because the homie SPI got action.
No, that was a mistake that
right
that I got. So that ain't even on the table. I think that the math was wrong on whoever was texting me earlier about the sentencing. I think they heard the 25. He got 25. And let's talk about the sentence, because
I was about to ask you right now, do you think they arrived at 60 just haphazardly by doing legal mathematic application and or did you think there was some leeway where it could have been 54, it could have been 66, and they stopped on 60 symbolically?
Well, the judge could have sentenced Eric a variety of different ways because he was eligible for at least a 70-year sentence. So he could have added it up different kind of ways. He could have ran some things consecutive, run it concurrent. So, for example, he got 50 years for killing Nipsey. Then he got 50. I'm sorry, I said 50. He got 25 years. Well, technically, I was right, but let's break it down. He got 25 years for the first-degree murder, and he got 25 years for the gun enhancement for the first-degree murder.
Yeah, see, that's janky. Seems like that's something he might be able to shake up off of there in the long run, but go ahead.
So the judge had the option.
That was one gun enhancement, 25 years?
No, well, you get a gun enhancement for the charge. So he had a gun enhancement for shooting Cousin Carrie, and he had a gun enhancement for shooting Nipsey.
Okay.
Now the gun enhancement is different for Carrie because he didn't kill Carrie. He didn't kill Cousin Carrie, but because he killed Nip, you get the max gun enhancement. So the max is 25 years. Now the judge could have ran those 25 years concurrently, meaning that it's not going to be 50.
Right.
But he ran it consecutively.
Gotta do one, then the other.
Yeah, so he ran it consecutively. But then with Cousin Carrie and Shermai Villanueva, he got charged for involuntary attempted manslaughter. It's an unusual charge, but it's called it's involuntary attempted manslaughter. And I think those carry 6 years, and there was a gun enhancement on one of those.
That seems like a contradictory in the sense that attempt is something that seems like you voluntarily are doing, and then how do you involuntarily attempt? That's like an oxymoron.
It's like basically it's a manslaughter on. Basically, they're saying that Eric Holder was killing Nip. And if he would have killed the other two dudes, it would have been a manslaughter against them because his intention was Nip only. And in the process of killing Nip, you shot a couple other people. Right. So that's voluntary manslaughter. But because they both survived, it's called attempted voluntary manslaughter.
Okay, I get it.
It's a weird charge.
Oh, I thought you said involuntary.
This one, I did say involuntary, but
okay.
It's actually the correct charge was attempted voluntary manslaughter.
Oh, that's not confusing. That makes sense. I got you.
But it is a weird charge though, because it's either a manslaughter is a manslaughter.
Okay.
But they're saying attempted voluntary manslaughter. An attempted manslaughter. To me, an attempted manslaughter doesn't make sense. You either kill someone, or it's manslaughter, or it's nothing. But there's this middle ground where it's an attempted manslaughter.
Oh, because manslaughter already is like an attempt in itself because it's not quite of intent to murder.
Well, if it was just manslaughter, that means someone died.
Okay.
Because Shermai and Cousin Carrie.
What separates a manslaughter from a murder?
The intent.
That's what I'm saying. So that's intent and voluntary are the same. So how can you have a voluntary manslaughter if manslaughter already speaks to intent or the lack of?
Well, this one for Shermai and for Cousin Carrie, it was an attempted manslaughter, which is I just don't. It's just a weird charge.
Remember, manslaughter and murder. The difference is the lack of intent.
Correct.
But then attempt indicates intent. If you attempt something, you're intending to do it.
Yes.
So how can you have an attempted lack of attempt, which is manslaughter, a lack of attempt, which separates it from a murder? How do you have an attempted lack of intent to kill?
I'm lost. You just lost me.
Manslaughter, by definition, is separated from murder because it lacks intent, right?
Also, murder has premeditation, where manslaughter is not premeditated, and they were trying to get that for Nip,
which again is the lack of intent.
Yes,
lack of intent. When you attempt something, you intend to do it. So how can he be charged when it attempted manslaughter if manslaughter already says there's no intent?
It doesn't make sense to me.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's fucking me up right now.
Yeah, attempted voluntary manslaughter. But the time on attempted voluntary manslaughter is It's low. So he got 25 plus 25, which is 50, and then he got 10 years for either the attempted voluntary manslaughter, or he got 10 years for the assault. He also got the assault charge, and he also got possession of a gun, which is 3 years. So this could have came out to any number. Like it could have been the 3 years on top of the 10. It could have came out to 63. But apparently after he ran the 25 and the 25 consecutively, he ran the rest of the sentences concurrently. So everything fell under the 10. So I don't know if that's coincidence, or I don't know if the judge the judge was like, I'm gonna slap him with 60 years because he's 60.
It's coincidence either way that it landed that way, and I think is something to notice either way, because if it was just an accident, it's very spiritual, because there's so many things I always relate to, especially his last 3 years of his life. I see so many spiritual elements, and if the judges and the lawyers and whoever made the decisions had no intention on reaching 60 intentionally, that's amazing. However, his impact, I believe that they may have had the room and landed on 60 in relation to the number, because it relate. I believe it's a possibility, especially in this case.